Well, I'm all set up. That beta is a lot of fun. I gotta say,
Yeah.
that Riders Republic, it was way more fun than I
Careful,
expected it to.
Zach. They're gonna get you.
You know what? Let them come at this point. Let the gaming industry come for me. It's taken everything else.
Honestly, I think I'd be more impressed if they did seek this podcast out and was like, "Hey,
These
these guys,"
motherfuckers.
as they're slapping the cuffs on you, be like, "Hey, yo, Ubisoft knows about us, though."
Yeah, exactly, exactly. We win this war. Um,
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming. Welcome to another Horrible Gaming Podcast. You have chosen, for whatever reason, to listen to us. And by us, I mean I am never alone. With me is...
Neil, aka a tiny wizard.
And before we get into the show proper, which is going to be another fun one, we are going to have to give some credits where credit is due. Number one, if you're watching this on YouTube, behind the fancy timestamps, you see some fancy graphics. Any one of those that are custom made, they are provided to us by Mr. Mark Bell, and we thank him for that. As far as the theme song for this show and every show here at OMG, it is provided by the man who makes the music, my brother Nick Van Sliders, and we thank him for that.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Alright, so that brings us to our first segment and our most important one, that's Fans Reaction. That's where we, the co-hosts, talk to you guys, the fans. We read out your comments anywhere we can find them, whether they be on Discord or right here on the YouTubes, where they usually are. I also try and find them on Twitch and Facebook if you guys want to make them, just letting you know. But it's all Kev today. It's all Kev today. So let's get into it. The speed bump became a rumble strip, laughing face, and I have no fucking idea what he's referring to there. Do you remember what he's referring to there?
No.
I don't. I don't. That's weird. Sorry, Kev. Sorry, Kev. We don't get it. I apologize. That's super frustrating. And then, in the spirit of Invader Zim, he goes, I'm gonna sing the Doom song now. Doom, 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 doomy, doomy, doom, doo, doo, doom, doo, doo, doom, doomy, doomy, doom, 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 doom. The end.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I tried to do it in Gur's voice. Best
Stunning rendition.
Yeah. tried to do justice to it. Tried to do justice to it. He then says, playing a good guy in GTA doesn't goes against everything the name for crying out loud. You would need a PBA, police blotter auto, to be good guys. First of all, cops are not good guys, Kevin. I've said that repeatedly. Second of all, GTA, right, but you can make a thief not a terrible person. Like, these guys just kill, especially 5. 5 was real rough. Like, nobody in 5 is, like, I can't even remotely identify with them. At least, like, Nico in 4, I could be like, alright, he's after vengeance, he's a hard-ass military guy, sometimes you gotta shoot somebody. I could, like, empathize with his character. Mike was an awful person who treated his family like dog shit. I can't remember the thug's name, but he was a dirtbag, and then Trevor was a monster. So it was just like, man, I can't. There's 3 characters in this, and I just can't empathize with them at all. It took me right out of the story. Now, I'm not saying they have to do good things. I'm just saying, like, there's no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Like, not even necessarily a good guy or a bad guy. There's just nothing good about them, you know? I don't know. Something for me.
I don't know. I've not. I barely played Grand Theft Auto 5, so I don't know.
I don't know. I need to, if I'm going to get into a story, I need to at least be able to like put myself in the hero's shoes or the main character's shoes. And I'm pretty good
Right.
at empathizing. But sometimes it feels like GTA is just doing a thing to be counterculture. You know what I mean? Like it's just like,
Right.
you know what he should do now? He should fuck around on his wife. You know what he should do now? He should just pull this dude's teeth out. You know, like it doesn't feel like necessarily that they flesh out these really good characters. It feels like they just kind of like, I don't know, like see how many terrible things they could do in a row. You know, like I don't know, like comparatively to like the Red Dead Redemptions. The Red Dead Redemption, you killed tons of people in Red Dead Redemption 2. Tons of people, and plenty of them were not bad people. But, like, you could identify with Arthur Morgan. You could see where he's coming from. You could be on his side. Whereas, I just can't do that with any of the GTA games. That's what I meant, Kev. Then he says, fishing. Blame World of Warcraft for making in-game fishing fun and useful. Yeah, are they the first guys who really started the fishing thing? Because it's in every game now. It really is.
I couldn't tell you. I avoid WoW like a plague.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really gotten into WoW. But yeah, I do know they did the fishing thing. They probably did the fishing first. I don't hate fishing in a game. I don't even hate the idea of fishing in Skyrim. I just don't think that that's reason enough to buy the game all over again.
Yeah. The only game that really had fishing that I know that I participated in was Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, that was a good one. I actually really liked the fishing in Red Dead Redemption 2. That was a really good fishing game. I really enjoyed that. And I like the fishing in Sea of Thieves. I've been known to actually just, when I need to chill, I'll just go into that game by myself, get the smallest ship, sail out into the ocean, and just fucking fish. It's nice. It's very peaceful, and I don't know, like, it's nice.
Now here's the real question though. Do you like real fishing?
No, I hate real fishing. But see, here's the thing though. I would probably like real fishing if it wasn't like the peaceful part of fishing I would enjoy, but I don't like being on boats in real life. They make me very sick and uneasy. I don't like boats, which is weird because I love swimming, but I just don't like boats. So right off the bat, that sucks. But then there's just so much work that goes into real life fishing, like the rod, setting up the rod, getting the bait, setting up the bait, finding the right spots, and then like you have to actually kill the fish and like gut the fish and like stuff like that. And like I don't know, like I like video game fishing because it refines the best parts of fishing and takes away all the stuff that would be annoying, I guess is the best way to say. Not insulting fishermen out there. Just want to say that again.
I can't remember the last time I went fishing.
Nah, I did it a couple times when I was a kid and never really.
I know I
Like I
haven't
said,
gone
boats
since I
don't
need a
work for me.
license.
I don't like boats. I never liked boats, so I don't know. Zach with a fancy fade on the backgrounds. Kev, I have that fade literally every time. Like literally every time. Since Neil has been on the show, I've had transitions. 100%. I'm assuming that's what he's referring to. Yu-Gi-Oh is bad now for anyone who played in the beginning, says Kev. He then adds to that, on top of that, 99% of the matches don't make it longer than turn 3.
Yeah, it's kind of bonkers anymore. I mean, there's some of the newer stuff that I've picked up on from playing the Duel Links game on the phone, but I mean, outside of there's just like the craziness of like the mat has changed like 4 times. There's different kinds of cards, and I know for a fact that yeah, you can have matches be completely over before turn 3. In fact, I had a deck that used spell counters that was just broken, and I ended up wrecking on. It was the other person got 1 turn. That was it. It was the only defense they had.
He then says, I push the limits and will fight the censor of YouTube bullshit. Well, that one got through, Kev, so congratulations. He said, I never remove my posts. Like I said, man, I never remove them either. So if they're gone, you know it's not me, it's YouTube. He then said, I knew you were going to slowly make the channel all about wrestling. Because of the OMGW thing.
Yeah. Hey, you didn't do it this week.
No, I didn't do it this week. Do love OMG. And I do love wrestling, but that's not what this channel's about. It's never interesting. Stop lying to us, laughing face. You're right. It never is. We're never interesting. I don't know. Although I will say, for some reason, people love it when I'm way more negative. Every time we get the negative ones, that's when we get all the views and hits and shit. Last week was super viewed. Well, it got like 11 views on YouTube, but then it also got like 15 hits on the podcast thing, which is actually pretty high for us. So, and then he finishes off with, "It's time to duel."
Yes. It's all the renditions, all the 90s, early 2000s cartoon renditions.
I tell you, I tried to go back to Legends of Runeterra, and I'm so bummed. Like, I told you what happened to me with that, right?
I think you might have, but I honestly can't remember.
I don't know if I've talked about if I've talked about it on the actual podcast before. I'm sorry, guys, but Legends of Runeterra is League of Legends' collectible card game, digital collectible card game, and I personally 100% am on record saying it's the best digital collectible card game you will ever play, and I still back that 100%. I think it's the best digital collectible card game for actual playing. Like, it's just so much fun to play, so strategic. They give you plenty of cards. I like the way they have a progression system where you can actually earn cards from the faction you want to play, all that. So, like, when I first signed up for it, they said that you could use a couple of different things, or you could just sign up for something on Legends of Runeterra. But they changed it so that you have to have a Riot account, right?
Yeah.
But when I tried to sign over to my Riot account, there was an error, and it basically deleted. It made my account inaccessible. So everything that I earned on Legends of Runeterra is gone. I still have the game on my phone, but I would have to start a new Riot account, which I did finally the other day. But it's just so disheartening. Like, because I have to do the tutorial stuff over again. I have to completely regrind and then build my decks, all of them. Like, I just don't know if I have it in me. Like every time I try, like, because I really want to play it, I miss playing it, but then I go into it and I'm like, I just can't have this game teach me how to attack anymore. Like, I just can't do it, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely a threshold where, like, if you lose your save on something, they just don't go back to it. Like, my original playthrough of Final Fantasy VII, the original Final Fantasy VII, back whenever, God, I was like 16, 17.
Right.
And we were already near the tail end of the PS2 era at that point when I tried the original Final Fantasy VII, and I got hit with the game save bug. I was almost through the first disc, and everything got wiped, and it was like 4 or 5 hours, something like that, of progress that I had made. I was like, "Yep, you know what? I think I'm done.
Yeah.
I think I'm done," and I just never went back to it.
Ocarina of Time. There's a known bug if you go on and look online. And back in the cartridge era, if you got a cartridge with a bug, you're just fucked. But there's a known bug in Ocarina of Time that every so often, the water temple, which is like the last temple before the main one, would just not spawn a key that you needed to get through the game. Like, yeah, I got hit with it. So, like, you could go back to your save and walk all the way through the water temple, but there's just no key. There's no more keys and it was something about, like, if you saved and left the game at a certain point, it got rid of your key. You know what I mean? And
that is garbage.
Yeah, my brother went through that dungeon start to finish, no problems. He ended up beating the game. I never did because I never, like, the only way I saw it, I ended up watching Game Grumps play it because I never got through it because that happened and I was like, I can't do it again. I can't do this whole game again. I can't do it.
Oh.
So yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
I mean, while we're on the subject, we haven't really posed a question in a while.
Sure.
Is there any game anyone's played that, you got either locked out by a glitch or a bug or anything
Right.
like that, or just like your save corrupted and you just wanted to cry?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. If you wanna share with us, put it in the comments. Tell us on Discord. I'll read them out next week. Yeah, anytime you lost a save and it made you quit or even think about quitting, we'd love to hear about it. So with that note, let's go ahead and move on to the first topic.
Alrighty.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hey Zach. Hey Zach, Keely's Fuckfest happened. Let's talk about Keely's Fuckfest.
Can I say every time I give you a segment to like just lead into, it's the most like it's like you're trying to go out of the way to be the most unprofessional possible. Like it's just like, "Hey Zach, fuckfest!" Like it's hilarious, man.
Look, man, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? That's
Alright, yeah.
my.
Let's talk about Keely's Fuckfest.
All right. So, I mean,
Before we get into it, before we get into the individual shit that we're gonna talk about, what do you think about it? Like, just so that everybody knows, we're recording on a Thursday again. So we have seen opening night, which was Tuesday. We saw, I don't know, day 2 on Wednesday, which I don't know was all about builders shit, and then today, from what I saw, was all about like future games, so games farther off. So that's what we've seen so far. I don't know. Do they do Friday too, or are they done?
I think they do Friday too. I know they've
Okay.
already announced that. I don't know if this is a part of Gamescom or not, but I know like more Metroid Dread info is coming tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
All right. I'd love to
but
hear from Nintendo. We haven't heard anything from Nintendo so far.
yeah,
What do you think of it overall so far? Just overall, without
I
going into every little thing yet, which we will. But what do you think overall
so
so far?
I I'll put it very plainly and simply. Not only did I fast forward through opening night, I did not watch anything that happened like during the day today. And I have not caught up on anything. I haven't looked at anything, and I have not cared to.
Okay. All right. I actually did look at some stuff today.
See,
But
because
I'm sorry.
here's no
I oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
here's what I'm. So Microsoft had their little showing the day before opening night because, like we said, everybody now has to get out ahead of the news and they got to be the one. I don't know what Microsoft really had to show. They didn't have anything to show really. I mean, people who are excited about Age of Empires, I suppose. The back half hour of the show was just Forza, which I mean, okay, I'm sure that's somebody's jam somewhere. I don't know how much, a half hour you can devote to all of that. I know it's a popular series they have, but how much can you really show? The biggest news to come out of Microsoft's conference, I think, is the fact that you're going to be able to do game streaming on your Xbox One console and all the other Xbox consoles moving forward, which is cool. So, I mean, you can play Series X games on your Xbox One, provided you have a fast enough internet connection, but that's something that we kind of knew was in development anyways. And then we
Yeah, it's kind of
have,
crazy because it makes their newer system even less valuable. But continue.
and then,
Can I give you my overview? Because it sounds like we're starting to get into this.
yeah, I think we're starting to get into this. Yeah, go
Let
ahead.
me just give you my overall thoughts of Gamescom so far. I want to say on a positive note, we got way more out of Gamescom so far than we got at E3 all 4 days. Like
Yeah.
as far as game announcements and like yeah, game announcements. As far as game announcements, we got way more than we got out of E3 this year. Now, I'm going to be negative for a lot of this, but like I did want to start with a positive. I actually was impressed with that. That like I went on IGN for the last 2 days. And by the way, just to let you know the day, Gamescom started Wednesday. Today was day 2. Tomorrow is day 3. And then Xbox had Tuesday all to themselves, their pre-Gamescom thing. So
Yeah.
that was the schedule, just so that everybody out there knows. I think that Gamescom actually blew E3 away a little bit as far as quantity.
Well, yes,
I mean,
and
my positivity is going to go away after that, but yeah. So
well, let's just kind of tease that out a little bit
okay, sure.
because yeah, we got a bit more that than at E3. I feel like too, but at the same time, stuff that we expected to be there and that was there had nothing to actually show. Case in point, Halo Infinite. We will touch a bit more on that later. And Horizon.
Horizon gave a release date though, which they had not actually done. And which actually was kind of a delay, but they did get a release date.
It's a confirmation of a delay that they teased that could be a thing. It was really weird.
It's a very strange presentation.
But what gets me, there's some decisions that were made like that with Horizon. I would have thought that we would have seen a new gameplay, something like that. I mean, the only thing that they really had to announce aside from that is the 4K 60 update for the PS5,
right?
Which looks great, but I'm here
and this goes into this whole trailer mentality. Why were you even showing us the gameplay before? Why not show us the gameplay now with a release date? Instead of give us a bad release window back then, rush out to show us some gameplay just to keep up with the E3 crowd, and then at Gamescom not really have anything to show other than a concrete date.
The only reason that I can think of for that is that Sony has some super secret show that they're going to do, but at this point I don't expect a state of play from them for a while.
Yeah,
because they totally skipped out on E3 and the quote-unquote E3 window. There was a rumor floating around that at the beginning of this month that they were going to have something. That came and went, but then everybody was like, oh, well, Gamescom, they're going to have something. And now Gamescom, we're in the middle of it. Sony has not announced any sort of state of play. So they just must not have anything that they want to show. And the only thing that they really did have to show being Horizon Forbidden West, they pushed into Gamescom with just one of the creative directors saying, hey, this is the release date, which, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, it goes back to this whole trailer hype fest self-feeding machine.
Right.
Now we've had gameplay already. We want more gameplay, especially given now the release of this game is it's like 5 months, 6 months out before it's going to be out. I mean, I'm sure somewhere along the lines we're going to get some sort of gameplay. Mm-hmm. There's always Keeley's Winterfuck Fest. But yeah, overall, and just the show itself, the pacing of the show, they opened with the rumored Saints Row.
Right.
The reboot of Saints Row, which honestly, I liked that trailer. I never played Saints Row. It was enough to make me intrigued about Saints Row. But then we have the ending of the show was, I'm assuming it was 15 minutes long because I fast forwarded through it, all about the Death Stranding director's cut.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that to the start. We're expecting something, as a nice cap to everything, a nice finisher to cap it all off, top it all off. And then we have basically the director's cut, the Game of the Year edition of a game that already exists and was kind of meh upon release anyways.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is all true. However, we did get a ton of AA and single A announcements, way more than like I would say 3 times the amount we got from E3, which is what I meant for quantity. We saw a ton of stuff from indie developers here, which is usually the case, but I kind of wasn't expecting all of that here. just because E3 was so dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, to bring just a tiny bit of positivity back, there was one game that showed up that surprised me that I'm like super intrigued with.
Okay.
Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah, it looks really interesting.
That looks super fun. Devolver does weird things,
They do,
and
and
that
some of them are
game,
really good.
yeah, and that game looks like I immediately saw Don't Starve in that game. And I don't know if you've
I've played
played
Don't
Don't
Starve.
Starve.
I'm not a super big fan of it, but yeah, a lot of people are, and
Yeah,
that's
I enjoyed Don't Starve,
yeah.
and that just gives me those vibes. But stuff like that, it's cool that that we have shows like this to where all the AAA BS is supplanted by the indies.
Yep, yep. Yeah. It's really, and that's why it's kind of in a lot of ways a better show. Because the other thing too is indie developers tend to give you more release dates. They tend to want to give you more gameplay instead of just like, hey, this is a thing that might come out at some point. You know. And
Right.
that's the position we're in gaming, where we just get that bullshit. But you know, I don't know. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that like even some of the games that I absolutely love that I can't wait to see come out are pulling some AAA bullshit that I don't like. The Sifu got a release date.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
February 2nd of 2022. Great. Very excited for that. But pre-orders are open now. It's 6 months away. That's almost half a year, guys. And pre-orders are open. Like, that's insane. Like, I hate that shit. I absolutely hate that shit in gaming. And they engineer these trailers, like everybody, not just them, engineer these trailers to get your serotonin kicking in your head, and you want it now, and the only thing you can do is pre-order it. So you go out and pre-order it. Gives you a little bit of relief from that like want to get the game, and that like it's bullshit, you know. We got a lot of that from Gamescom. We saw more Starfield shit, which
We did.
whatever. Yeah, that was today. There was 3 locations they showed off. No actual gameplay still.
Oh yeah, we're
They
too
just
far
talked
off.
about locations. Are you kidding me? Yeah, we got a lot of weird builder in it. Like it was weird. Like day 2 was all about like builder games, like city block builder, townscaper. There was another game called like Dwarf Romantic, stuff like that. Just a lot of games where it's like you build a city and that's it. Like it was very weird, very weird. Yeah, I don't know. I think we should skip over Halo since we're gonna kind of talk about that.
Yeah,
for a
we
second,
will.
talking
We
about
will
it.
get. Don't you worry. We will get back to Halo.
And yeah, so I don't know. There were some games I was excited for that I saw. I'm trying to think of them now. Oh, Gigabash. Gigabash is the King of Fighters game. The kind of like return to form for King of Fighters game, where basically it's like it's kind of half top down. You're in a city. You pick a fighter that's a monster. You can have up to 4 players on the map at one time, and you it's like a kaiju battle, and the buildings get crushed as you knock each other into it, and like all sorts of stuff like that. Like it's called Gigabash, and that looks a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
What about Shredder's Revenge?
So okay, so Shredder's Revenge looks cool. I think it looks cool. .mu and Lizard Cube make great games. Obviously, they made Streets of Rage 4, so I'm really excited to see what they
They're
come
doing
with.
the Metal Slug game too. The remake. I believe it's a remake.
Really, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, they
That's
announced
awesome.
that one at E3.
That's they're really good at stuff like that. April being a playable character is a little bit weird. Not because I don't think April can fight or anything like that, but like the April that they chose to put in there was the silly dopey one. I wish they had picked a more badass April that they've had lately, you know? Like instead of just fighting with her mic, it was it's very strange, you know?
Yeah.
But I would have liked a release date. That being said, .mu they love to like, hey, it's coming out next week. You know, that's what they did with Streets of Rage. That's what they did with Streets of Rage DLC. It was like you just kept seeing things, and you're like, when's it coming out? When's it coming out? And then when they told you it was coming out within a month. You know.
I could be wrong, but I thought they did have a release date for it. I mean, it was a ways off.
They did not have a release date. I looked. They did not have a release date. I'll search right now just to make sure, because I watched that trailer twice and I didn't see any release date.
I thought I saw something about 22, but it could be completely wrong.
Release date. It still just says 2021.
See, I'm seeing one on Games Radar right now as 22. But I mean, still, it's just a release window. Still, that's not a release date. And if there's one thing that we have banged the drum on repeatedly, it's don't give us these windows
Right,
that you're not going to be
date.
able to. Yeah. But I mean, yeah.
They put up a tweet. That's why. I didn't see it. April O'Neil will be fighting alongside Leo, Ralph, and Donnie, coming to PC, Nintendo, and Switch consoles in 2022. So 2022 is the date. Or, yeah, the year.
The year, if you're lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see it in 2022 just because of, like, they wouldn't even be showing us stuff if they weren't really far along. That's just how that company works.
Right.
So, I don't know. Like, they announced that they're working on something, and then when you start seeing stuff, that's when it's getting close, you know?
Right.
I don't know. What else did you see at Gamescom that you maybe liked or didn't like?
Well, I know one thing that Kayla was excited for, and I'll be interested to see how it turns out as Far Cry 6. And I know your feelings on Far Cry.
Yeah,
but,
I'm not knocking anybody who likes Far Cry. I'm just not going to do it again. The story is burned too many times.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it turns out. I mean, Giancarlo Esposito as the villain is going to be very interesting. Especially, like, I just think of Gus in Breaking Bad all the time when I think of him playing a villain. He did okay as Moff Gideon, but anyways. But yeah, that looks like it's going to be interesting. And this was like the first trailer that they showed that really kind of told you what the story was going to be. Mm-hmm. Because before it was just like, hey, stuff blowing up. Hey, you want to blow stuff up? Gun shooty bang bang. Which honestly could very well be the name of the game, is Gun Shooty Bang Bang.
That could be the name of any Far Cry game ever. Gun Shooty Bang Bang.
Gun Shooty Bang Bang. I would have liked to get a little bit more information on that weird DLC that they had teased. Mm-hmm. That like pit the last three villains against each other in a weird psychedelic trip.
Yeah.
But alas, that wasn't there. Outside of that, I'm trying to think. There wasn't much else. I mean, like I said,
there was a lot of stuff.
They showed gameplay for the new Call of Duty. So I'm sure that there were a lot of people out there who are very much like, yes, awesome, great, wonderful, this is for me. The only thing in Call of Duty that I ever really played / cared about is the zombies.
Right.
So, and to my knowledge, it wasn't there. So, I mean,
what did you think of that Marvel game, though?
I'm
kind of surprised you haven't
reserving
mentioned that,
judgment.
because that kind of came out of nowhere.
So, tactics games for me it's feast or famine.
Are we sure it's even going to be tactics, though? I do want to say that, because they have all but said this is a completely new type of thing for them as far as gameplay. But have they said anywhere that it's definitely strategy?
Yeah, they said it is an RPG tactics game in the reveal for it.
Right. Well, Fraxis is really good at those. Really good at those.
That, and I am really intrigued, and they have gameplay, I believe it's September 1st, that they're going to show actual gameplay of it.
Yeah,
and
I'm looking at the story.
At that point, I'm going to be watching it, and I think I'll kind of make my decision right then and there. I love tactics games, but they have to be done in a certain way. I like the whole grid thing, the old school tactics, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it'll wind
That's
up
usually
being that.
Fraxis, though. That's usually Fraxis. So I do want to say, like, when they do, like, the combat. I think what's really strange, too, is that we've heard nothing anywhere about this, and it's supposedly coming out on March 2022. Like, that surprises
Yeah.
me. And if that's true, if it does come out on March 2022, more power to Fraxis for this kind of, like, release. But like we didn't even like this hasn't even been rumored. Like that one really like was like what? And who's making it? You know? I obviously though, I will say I hate announced trailers. This was an announced trailer. This was a quintessential announced trailer. This was a trailer that showed you nothing about the game to the point where I personally had to go to the story to even try and figure out what the game was going to be about, you know? Like
You,
the trailer shows you nothing. It's just there to get you hyped.
you know what I thought it was at first? I straight up thought it was going to be Marvel's Avengers Next or 2.0
Yeah.
or something like that. Like they were just like, let's push the Wakanda stuff out. Let's just get that done. Everybody knows that's coming, and we're just immediately going to work on a reboot of that and make it something that people like and want.
I was very confused when I started seeing that. I agree with you.
Yeah.
The same thing ran into my head. I'm like, are they redoing it? And then there was another part of me that's like, how are they making another Avengers game if they have an Avengers game out? Like it was I don't know. It was nuts to me. It was nuts to me to see that there.
Yeah. But that's going to be one I will find out very soon if that's something I'm going to be all for. I am nervous, especially given Ultimate Alliance 3 did not turn out anywhere near what I was expecting. Ultimate
Right.
Alliance 1 and 2 were just wonderful games. Not so much 2, but still, I loved those. They dropped the ball there. They dropped the ball with Marvel's Avengers, the Square Enix, Crystal Dynamics one. So we will see. We will see what happens with Marvel. But I got to imagine if this doesn't go well, that Marvel's not going to be sticking around in games for very long outside of like their mobile free to play, this, that, and the other, because they've not been batting very well.
No, they haven't. They really haven't. And I do want to talk just really quickly about Doki V was the other one that
Oh,
people
you
were
know
excited on.
what? I forgot about that. I need you to go ahead and say what you're going to say about this because I
Okay.
wonder if you and I had the same thought because I go ahead. Just go ahead.
I have a problem with Pearl Abyss as a company. And here's my problem with Pearl Abyss. We have seen trailers now for no less than 5 games. 5 games. They're all announced trailers. This one actually looked to have some gameplay in it, but the way they present it, that could have just been like very easily manufactured. But they've showed all these games that people just go crazy about. They had that Plan 8 with the Exosuit versus Robots one. They had the Crimson Desert, which is like the story-driven Viking thing. They had this one, the Doki V. Then there was another one that I can't even think about. And like all of them, just like look them up. The trailers are phenomenal. What the fuck is like none of them have come out for years. Like, are they even actually making games, or are they just making trailers and showing it to us? I'm very confused by that company as a whole right now, and I really feel like they just need to release something. Like anything. Doki V, Plan 8, Crimson Desert, whatever. Release something so that we can, like, see that you're actually making games this good. Because the stuff they show off is amazing, but they haven't actually given us anything. They're like the quintessential, like what I'm talking about when I say it's all announced trailers, it's all a Ponzi scheme. Like, the only thing I think they're actually releasing is that Crossfire X, which looks interesting. Like, it's like a Call of Duty type thing, and Remedy is writing the story, but it still hasn't come out. We just keep seeing, like, footage from it. So, I don't know. I'm starting to be real nervous about Pearl Abyss as a company on a whole.
So you definitely did not go the way that I thought you were that
I
you were
didn't.
going
I
to go
didn't
because
think I was going to because I didn't think you followed them as closely as I did.
So so this trailer, I only caught like that they said something about you like the power of K-pop or something like that, and it's like I'm like, what in the ass is that? And it starts, and it's like, okay, so this looks like it looks good, and so right off the
Looks
top,
interesting.
it looks. I mean, like
Oh
graphically,
yeah,
it
graphically.
looks good.
But that's
But that could be a complete lie. Yeah, just
Right.
like you had said, that it
every
looked
one of their
good
games
graphically.
has looked like this. Do you remember what I'm talking about with Crimson Desert and Plan 8?
I know Crimson Desert. I don't know about that other one.
I will look up the announced trailer. I'll send it to you between segments. I'll let you watch it. Every one of their trailers looks fucking beautiful, but they haven't released anything yet. The only thing we have from them is Black Desert, which is a fine MMO, but it's nothing you're gonna write home about, you know. So like, I don't know. Whatever. But keep going with where you were going. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. So, if you have not watched this trailer, before I even start speaking about it, you should probably, anyone listening to this should probably just watch it and come back to this, because you will be left with the same question as I, and that is, what the fuck? What the fuck is happening? There are colors exploding, there are rocket umbrellas appearing in kids' hands. Some weird weasel is tap dancing while a panda is boxing things, and everything's exploding in colors.
Yeah.
And I like there is no anything about what this game is. Nothing at all. Like that, not even in what they show does it even give a glimpse as to what's happening. It is an acid fever dream, this trailer.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy. I agree with that. It's totally insane.
And Kayla and I were sitting there watching it. It's like, just what is happening? We were dying laughing on the couch, just so confused as to what it is that was happening. And I was watching it, and you know what? They could have just said, I don't know what their plan is for what this is supposed to be. But I had said to her, it's like, just say that, you know, you are a kid who is fighting imaginary enemies with your imaginary friends, and all of your stuff is just powered by imagination. If they said that, and it's like, you're just a kid who's just having imaginary fights in the middle of a town square with things, but you're just playing around, like, yo, that I would throw money at that.
Right.
Because it's such an interesting idea but no, it's some weird K-pop
like
rainbow barf, and I'm just beside myself as to what it was that I saw.
It's very confusing. It is very confusing, and I will completely and totally agree with that.
And honestly, I would just kind of make that, if you want to sum this show up in one thing, just watch that trailer.
Yeah.
You are confused.
That's a good one.
Things look good, but you don't know what they are. You're confused as to why you want this thing, and you don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, that's about it. Like, you really, like, you don't know where to go from here. You know, like, yeah, like you're just like, I wasn't expecting this, and I don't know if I want this. Like, every time. It was just like a surprise punch that you weren't sure that you cared about, you know?
Right.
All right, well, that's it that I can think of for everything that we wanted to mention, unless you can think of anything else, or should we move on to the next subject?
No, let's move on to the next subject. I have Taco Bell that's getting cold.
All right.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
So there was one glaring anus that we didn't talk about in the last segment, and that's Halo Infinite. And yeah, oh god, and the story of this starts even before Gamescom. So it had come out that Halo Infinite will not be launching with co-op campaign. Or Forge. Now, I know Forge is not necessarily one of the biggest aspects of Halo, though I personally do enjoy it. I've screwed around with it a lot. If you've watched any of the Halo Infinite Wars, I've built maps for that. So
I build map.
I build map. I am map build.
I'm map build.
So it's come out that those will not be a part of the launch. They're coming later. And I don't know if you had seen it or not. There was like a developer interview video that they did with 343 about the campaign and the multiplayer. And it had come out, it was said in that video that they had even debated delaying the game again. On top of the delays that we've already had, would have pushed it into 2022. But instead, they are just going to ship just bare bones. Like, well, I mean, the multiplayer and the campaign, they're shipping day and date on December 8th. Okay, great.
Right.
It's wonderful. So what are you going to do? You're going to be able to hand Microsoft money to shoot other people online in multiplayer, which was normally a part of the full release of the game up until this point. Or you can get a single-player open-world shooting campaign that was, and always has been, really kind of designed around co-op. At least has been a main staple for a long time, since Halo 3.
The exception of 5.
Well, 5 has it, but it's not split screen. You can do it in 5.
Yeah,
you have to, yeah. They just, because 5, they're like, no split screen. And they did say that they are going to be bringing back split screen for multiplayer, which, great, but I can't pat them on the back for bringing back something that has been integral for the series. And they're bringing it back because they kind of caught shit for it in Halo 5. And they were like, oh, we're dedicated to a vision of what we want our game to look like, this, that, and the other. And I get it. But if you cut it back then to bring it back now, I question, why you cut it in the first place back then.
Yep.
So we had all this information come out.
Because game developers are liars.
Yes. And then we had Gamescom, the Xbox showcase. Halo was not there. What? And the release date had leaked yesterday morning, I believe it was, because for some reason I can't think of what days are. So it was a Wednesday morning, the Wednesday morning before the actual opening night, and Halo was there. So, great. We're seeing all this. We're going to see Halo stuff. No gameplay of campaign yet again.
Well, the controller was there, Neil. And the
controller was there.
The custom Xbox.
Oh, the custom Xbox that nobody can get their hands on the regular one?
Yep.
You want to offer to scalpers who have Fun Side Story already bought all of them and already have them on eBay for $1,000 each? Those ones?
Yep.
Or the Xbox Elite controller, the Series V2, for the Master Chief Special Edition one that has also been all bought up and scalped out and is going for $550 to $600 on eBay right now. Those?
Yep. Those ones.
Okay. I'm worried. I really am absolutely worried.
I'm gonna go one further. Don't buy Halo, everybody. Don't buy Halo. And I pussyfoot around stuff a lot on this channel. Sometimes I try and be like, hey, if it's your thing or whatever, don't buy Halo. These guys have jerked you around for 2 fucking years, and they don't deserve any money at this point. I don't care how good that game is. I don't care if that game is a 10 out of 10, earth-shattering, the best Halo that's ever been. They do not deserve your money for what they have done. They have first, they lied to you about the date repeatedly. They then lied to you. They then fucking lied to you about the game repeatedly, and now they're literally hacking it up and selling it for parts like some sort of metaphorical chop shop. This is absolutely ridiculous, and I will be surprised if it launches with campaign. I think they're just going to go multiplayer in December. It's just going to be a free-to-play multiplayer game. Congratulations. Halo is now a free-to-play multiplayer game just like every other fucking shooter out there. Good for you, fucking 343. You have taken a franchise, and this isn't even my favorite franchise by far. I'm sorry I'm on a rant now. I waited until you gave me a chance to
keep
talk.
rolling.
This isn't even my fucking franchise. I'm not even that super into it. But I'll tell you this, they have taken a beloved franchise that people have loved, and they have fucking run it into the ground since they got it. Since they took it, they've released what? One good game? Halo 4? That's it? then Halo 5 was a fucking nightmare with a decent multiplayer. And since then, they have lied to you, pulled wool over your eyes, taken your pre-order money, given you shit after bullshit about making an engine and taking all that. They're just fucking around. They're fucking around, and they don't deserve your money for this. They don't deserve your money for this. If somebody did this to you for a car, you would not accept that car. Do not accept Halo. You, as a gamer, and I don't care who's listening, listen to me. Whoever you are, whoever's listening, Todd, a Jim, an Annabelle, a Caitlin, whoever, you are better than this. This is the kind of shit that the game company does to you and me and everybody else. And you have to say no at some point. And the only way to say no is to not give them your money. And I'm sorry if that costs people jobs at 343. I'm sorry if that hurts people in the long run. But you are better than the way they have treated you as human fucking beings on the planet Earth.
You know what? They're being completely unapologetic too, because I watched that entire video. Yeah. They had even said, the question was asked, like, well, why don't you just delay the game again and ship it with all this stuff? Because these are the things that people want in the game. And their response was, well, if you keep delaying a game until it's done, it's never going to be done. Ha, 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 ha. That's the beauty of us being a live service. That was literally said. And that is, honestly, that's just one of the main aversions that I have to live service as a whole. But that's a whole separate side thing.
That's not even the thing. It's not even a live... This isn't a live service thing, because you can release a game in a full position and still be a live service game, and it still be worth $60. They're trying to use that phrase to get away with fucking highway robbery. That kind of shit bugs me, and this is... Neil, that's the very reason you have a problem with live as service. Not because live as service is bad, but because this is what people use that phrase to do. And so mad about that. There was another thing I was about to say, but I'm just so steamed about this. It's absolutely ridiculous. Not only are they unapologetic, but they act like it's a favor to you. Like, well, we want to get it out to you in this shitty, like it's a favor that they've cut all this shit out of it, and they're gonna try and sell it to you for $70 fucking. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I feel like too they kind of know that they messed up, because there has been now the news stories coming out that they've said, oh, you're going to see campaign footage again before launch, whatever that's supposed to mean, whenever they decide to do that. Probably going to show it off December 7th. Because it had such a bad showing before, I think that they're scared shitless as to what it's going to wind up being.
Do I get points for my prediction if 50% of the game is in 2022?
I think you do. I honestly no. I would say that you do.
Like,
I would say that you do. If they do go ahead and delay the campaign and just ship the multiplayer, one of two things. Well, two things. One, you at least get partial points for your prediction. 100%. I will gladly give you a half point on that one. But also, I think that then at that point, Halo is in a bad spot. It is in a bad spot. It is in a bad way, because they've already chopped out so much for first the multiplayer, and now the campaign single player sort of whatever is going on. I think that they're gonna that they've chopped out so much they cannot at this point delay it again, or delay just the campaign and not catch all of the world's shit all at once.
But that's the problem, Neil. They've set it up. They've set it up so that they can delay it and people will be happy. Because they've said, we're going to release it to you, but we're going to cut all this stuff out. So now people are saying, just delay it. So now they're going to get to a point where they're like, well, we're delaying it because you guys asked us to. That's how they're playing this right now. That's how they're playing this. They're playing this to get away with this shit. And And I'll tell you another thing, people. If they do release it in this chopped up version in December and you all go out and buy it in $70, I hope you guys are ready to buy AAA games in chunks. And I'm not talking like it's been. I'm talking like, yeah, well, you get the multiplayer on February, and then you get the campaign in March, and then you get the co-op in May, and then like I'm talking features will be cut out and then added later. That's what you're getting. That's what you're getting if you're paying for this, because they're doing something, in my personal opinion, that's never been done to this level before.
No, and you know what? The absolute 100% worst part about all of this. You just went off on this absolute tangent and just bitched about it. You know damn well that the second that preload is available for this game, I'm still going to download it. And that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing. Because at the end of the day, there's still that teeny tiny little shred of me that's like, but it's Halo. You like Halo. Ignore all that other stuff. And I'm sure they're feeding off of that. And this is just one of the many reasons, we've talked about this before, one of the many reasons that I am part of X, Y, or Z problem in gaming. Because I'm not alone. I'm absolutely not alone.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to lie. It makes me furious to hear you say that. But
Yeah.
But I get it. At the same time, I get it, because I was one of those guys who was like, I want to play this game so badly, I don't care what anybody else says. And so I buy it, and then it sucks, and that's on me. I mean, I did that with Marvel's Avengers. Really, I did. And while I did have some fun with it, at the end of the day, I really shouldn't have purchased that game. I mean, everybody is guilty of it at some point, just being like, I'm so excited for this game, I want to get this game, and then you get it, and you should have listened to people. But at the same time, man, we just have to find a way to say no to this, because I don't want the games from here on out to be this, because that's honestly, I personally, like I said in the rant, I don't think this is coming out in December. If anything comes out in December, it's going to be the free-to-play multiplayer. That's it, so that they can make money on the microtransactions. I'm sorry, everybody. That was unprofessional. I don't think this is coming out in December. I think what they're doing is they're setting us up so that we're basically asking them to delay it so that they can, again, not be apologetic for it and basically blame us, the consumer, for their delay. That's what I think they're doing. That's what I think this whole thing is about. When they started cutting things out of it, I think the whole thing is, we can't finish it, but if we delay again, we're going to take a bunch of shit, so we're going to tell everybody we're going to release it, but because we're behind, we have to cut all this stuff out, and then people are going to beg them to delay, and then they're going to be like, hey, we're doing you a favor, we're going to delay it till May, and that's what I think is going to happen. That being said, if that's not what happens, and this comes out, and it sells like gangbusters, every one of these greedy sons of bitches in the AAA games are going to look at that, and they're going to go, man, we can get away with that. We can get away with that now. And that is how these people get away with this. It's how these people get away with it. And, I said it last week. I don't like to blame the victim. I don't like to tell the gamers they're at fault. And really, you're not at fault. These people are predatory. They know how to set up trailers. They know how to set up hype so that it's almost academic that they're hitting their target audience in a way that those people are going to spend money on it, regardless of anything else. That's just how they work. That's how they work. They are extremely good con men. That's what they are. The problem is, though, is at some point we have to be smart enough to say, you're conning us. This is a trick, and you are doing this to us, because as long as they keep doing it and people keep giving them money, they're going to keep doing it. It's that simple. It's that simple. And that's the kind of thing that bothers me. I think if the government were to get involved, which, like I said, I never wanted that. It's sad that I even consider it now, just because of how much I hate the games industry right now. If the government were to get involved, the first thing they should do, the absolute first thing they should do, is make it illegal to be able to pre-order a game more than 2 months out from the game's release. Period. They should cut it out, because that's what these people do. That this is all a hype train to get money. and don't get me wrong, I'm not stupid. I know they're not taking the money from the pre-orders immediately and using it. What they do, though, is they take those pre-order numbers to go to stock shareholders and investors to get more money out of them, and it's all this weird pyramid scheme. So, like, the first thing that they need to do right off the bat is be like, you cannot have somebody pre-order a game unless it's 2 months out from the release. Period. Yeah. You cannot put it up for pre-order. And that would help a lot right there. But, like, again, back to the question at hand, everybody out there, as gamer, you deserve better than the way these people have treated you. They have treated you terrible. They have treated you like idiots. They have called you stupid on a regular basis, and they have not apologized for it. They have not taken it back, and they're not going to. You are better than that treatment. You know, and I tell you what, you want to call your game live as service? Well, there's the word service is in that. And if I'm not getting good service, I'm not going to partake of your product. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, hey, Warframe is a games as a service. They provide a service, and they provide it well. And that's why I keep going back to Warframe. If you want to be a games as a service, fine. Don't blame all your bullshit on games as a service. Be a service. And make people happy with your product instead of using it as this fucking catch-all scapegoat. I'm so upset with Halo right now. It's ridiculous. And 343 is bullshit. That company's bullshit, and I hope it burns. Hope it burns down.
Well, now that we've wished arson upon people.
Well, sorry, metaphorically burns down. I don't want anybody to lose their life in fire. Okay, I want to make that very clear before I post this on the internet. I do not want anyone to die by fire. I'm just saying that, like, that company was created to do one thing and one thing alone, and that's make Halo, and they have thus far failed at it 3 fucking times.
Yeah.
I mean, am I wrong about that?
No. I mean, in some way or another, there's been failure.
Every time since Bungie has given it. Well, 4 was okay from what I understand. 4 was really good. But everything since 4 has been just a fucking failure. Failure after failure. And lie after lie. That company should not exist anymore. Just saying. But I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to get real heavy and ranty on that. But I'm just so...
No, you're totally fine.
So disillusioned with gaming right now. And this kind of shit, this right here, is the thing that's making me the most mad. You know?
Yeah.
This is the example. This is the thing to look to be mad about. This and fucking Cyberpunk last year. This is basically that. The only difference is... No, there's no difference. Well, the only difference is Cyberpunk told you the whole time it was a full game while they were cutting shit out of it. Whereas this, they're just trying to trick you. All right, do you got anything more to say on it? I've taken up a lot of time. I apologize.
No, you're totally fine.
You want to hit odds and ends and then get out of here?
Yeah, let's hit odds and ends.
All right.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to odds and ends, our final segment of the show. And this is where me and Neil collect smaller news stories and talking points that we want to mention. I don't know why my face decided to stop working there at the beginning of that, but
is that a stroke?
Yeah, right.
Are you having a stroke?
I'm gonna get an aneurysm talking about video games, I swear. So we collect smaller, quicker news stories that we definitely think are worth telling you guys about and riffing about, but probably don't deserve a full talking point. I have 3, Neil has 2, so I'm going to go first. And my first one's fun, because this is actually a good thing that's happening in gaming, and it's from a company that has been, known as one of the most evil companies in gaming, and man, I think they're out. Like, they've seen, like, the shit that like's going on with Blizzard and stuff, and they're like, we're gonna be good this year, But EA is making 5 accessibility technology patents freely available to anyone, meaning that 5 accessibility technology patents One of them includes the Apex Legends ping system, which everybody had kind of ripped off anyway, but like the actual way that one specifically works, plus a bunch of other ones. They've just basically said, look, anybody can use them. We've got the patent on it, but it's better for gaming and people as a whole if anybody can use them. So they've made them freely available to anyone. And can I just say, in a fucking world, and that world is gaming, of greed and evil and just shitty take, I can't believe that EA of all companies is actually doing something that seems relatively altruistic with very little downside to it, very little to gain other than PR. So, good on you, EA. Good on you.
Yeah, very much so. I think that that's awesome, especially for something like accessibility, where it's not like a gameplay thing. It's literally how other human beings can physically
Yep.
play games.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely awesome. And just the fact that they're like, there's no cost, there's no repercussions, you don't have to pay them anything. Like, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. I really appreciate it. So,
Yeah.
that being said, that's one of mine. If you want to go
All
next.
right. Yeah. So, while most people can't get their hands on the Xbox Series X consoles, Microsoft did say that their Xbox Series X mini fridge is going to be available this holiday season. No word on the price or release date yet. I'm so glad that this is going to be a real thing.
Well, and it's only a
because
matter of time before you can play Forza on it, right?
I'm sure they're going to find a way to have Skyrim running on it.
Fucking Skyrim. Yeah, definitely.
All right, what do you got next?
Let me see. I'm gonna go with the negative one first. Wrestling, just WWE specifically, just had one of its big yearly shows, SummerSlam, which happened, and it was sponsored by WWE 2K22. Now, just you guys probably don't follow, but WWE 2K19 was good. WWE 2K20 was a buggy nightmare fest. And because of that, they literally canceled WWE 2K21, saying they were going to take a year off to make it better. One thing you all should know about sports games, if you don't know already, if something says a year, it actually should come out the year before. So, like, NHL 2022 should come out this year. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, it's always been that way. With this, we have found out, however, it has been delayed. Well, not really delayed since they never really had a release date since their announcement, but it's not coming out until March 2022. So it's actually coming out the year that it's made. So really, they kind of took a 3-year break from the game. But yeah, they had an announced trailer at SummerSlam, and they actually gave us a release window, which was early 2022. Everybody is speculating, probably rightly so, that it will come out right around WrestleMania time, which usually happens in May or April.
Well, I hope that time off helped them to kind of get their poop in a group. Because that's the thing with these annualized franchises. Unless you are like someone like Activision who has 3 separate studios working on games constantly for the next year, you're hard pressed to get something to either A, come out in the year that you want it to come out, or B, come out in the quality that you want it to come out.
Well, and the problem is they approach WWE as a sports game. It's not a sports game. Like, it shouldn't be approached that way because it has these in-depth storylines. It has a ton of voice acting. Like, it should be approached like a normal game. And every 2 years you should re-up it. I think that, like, the problem is they look at it like these sports games where you basically just have rosters and stats and they come out yearly with a little bit of tweaking. You know, like Madden and NHL. You can't do that with a pro wrestling game because it's all about storyline. You know.
Right.
So I think that's the problem, is they're trying to do too much with these games in too little a time. Because you really can't use last year's basis. Like, there's too much. It's not like where you can copy and paste the NHL 2019 to 2020 and then just update stats and update, the modes. You can't do that. You have to come up with whole new storylines. You have to get them in there for whole new voice acting. You got to get them in there to redo their moves, like stuff like that. So I feel like they really shouldn't be coming out every year anyway.
Right.
But what's real bummer for me personally is I kind of had a plan for getting off of, because I'm gonna have to get off 2K19 for OMGW. That being said, I was kind of hoping 2K22 would be decent and I could switch to that. If it came out in September or October, that would be perfect because I would have finished up Season 4. I could get on 2022. It would give me enough time to see if 2022 was going to be a trash fire or not, then purchase it if it wasn't, and then put the whole roster onto that. With this being said, I will probably have to do a whole nother season on 2K19, and I'm not looking forward to that.
I don't know. I think it'd be pretty entertaining, even if you just did like a one-off with 20. I think that would be absolutely hilarious.
Digitally, the game is still super expensive. I don't want to pay $60.
I'm sure you can find a disc somewhere in a gutter, or
I don't want to do a disc because I've seen what happens with the disc on the fucking upstairs. I don't want to do that anymore just because of the way I capture. I want to be off disc and on PC, so it's easier to do that shit.
Yeah.
All right. So that you got one more, I think.
Yeah, I got one more, and it's like a twofer.
Okay.
So in the wake of all of the harassment allegations and everything coming out of Activision Blizzard, Overwatch's McCree is getting a name change, as the character was named after one of the ex-employees who was caught up in all of that scandal.
Who was super rapey.
Yeah, and boy, does this whole Activision Blizzard story keep getting better, because now the state of California has brought another suit against them, for destroying HR records and evidence about reports of all of the various harassments of all different types. And of course they say, oh no, we never did that. But the state has evidence that, yes, they have in fact been shredding evidence. So they're just better and better and better as this continues.
And how bad are you at committing crimes when you shredded something and they can still figure out that you did a bad thing?
I don't, man.
Like, you destroyed the evidence and they're like, yeah, but you did it so badly that we could see that it's evidence? Like, holy shit.
I imagine it's just a person ripping one sheet of paper in half.
Right. They just brought Carl in. Carl, get in here. Here's what you're doing today. Just take the sheet, rip it once cleanly in half so that's very readable if someone were to put those two halves together. Put it in the trash. Put it in its own separate bag. Then put it in the trash. Do that with all the sheets. This is very easy for anybody to go through our trash and figure out that we're evil fucks. Ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and as per company policy, we have to harass you in some form while you do it. So
yeah, we also have to every 15 minutes we're just gonna come in and grab your penis. Just every 15 minutes ago, someone's gonna come in, be like, "Hey, Carl, how you doing?" Penis grab. See you later, Carl. Like we're required to just sexually harass you.
And it's just like, not to make light of this situation, but it's just. Yeah. It's just unbridled chaos at this point. Anytime they try to do something like this whole McCree name change thing,
they were forced to do it by the players.
Well, yeah,
they resisted it all the way up until now, and people were like boycotting the game and shit until they finally did it.
You know what I almost wonder that they're going to do? I almost wonder if they're going to push back the official release of Diablo 2 Immortal. Or the Diablo 2, what's it called? Not Immortal. That's the Nightmare mobile one. Resurrected. Yeah. I almost wonder if they are that self-aware of how bad this is getting for them that they're going to start pushing stuff back to try to get around the scandal, or complete opposite end, try and push that stuff out faster to get in people's good graces.
I think
Again.
they'll try and push stuff out faster to get money.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. Like, that's what they want. I mean, they just want money. And the money will allow them to fight the things that are coming at them. So I think you're going to see them pushed out, and they're not going to give a shit if there's any problems with it. I mean, at this point, they haven't shown remorse for anything. And we're not even talking about just delayed games and bad quality shit. We're talking about, like, human rights violations. And they're just like, fuck it, double down. Like, what fucking shame do they have? Absolutely zero. So
yeah, they're the ones who are, violating human rights here, and we should have seen the red flags back from the whole Hong Kong thing.
right.
Like, what was it, 2 years ago at this point?
Oh yeah.
And J. Allen Brack, who is now gone, thank God, had to get up on stage and apologize, but
I'm not letting up on that.
Not he apologized, but he never once said that what he apologized for.
Right.
So he didn't acknowledge it. He didn't anything. So I mean, that on its own should have been a red flag for all of this stuff that's coming here. And
yeah, definitely a red flag, but you don't see them like with Cosby rooms and shit. Like, I don't know. The sheer magnitude of what they're doing. Like, we're not talking about like somebody said something inappropriate about somebody's boobs at this point, or somebody's dick. We're talking about full on like assault, and that shit's crazy to me. It's shit's fucking crazy to me. That there's so much of it for so long,
Right.
Especially now of all times, when we've had years upon years of the Me Too movement and stuff. Like, wouldn't you, the minute you saw that, if you hadn't been caught, be like, hey, everybody, let's put a kibosh on the raping, Like, maybe this isn't a good idea anymore. Like, and again, that doesn't make anything they did okay. I'm just saying that, like, from an intelligence standpoint, how fucking dumb are these guys?
Very
just
much so.
So evil they just don't even care. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. and I'll say it again. This story, it's not done.
No, it's
all
not.
Of these. It is not done. Especially now that the state has gotten like extra involved in all of this. This is definitely not done.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add it to the list of reasons that I want to drown myself every time I do this podcast. All right, so my final one is a little bit more fun, and it's got a secret plug in it. One of the cool things that actually did come out of the Xbox Gamescom announcement stuff, and I specifically didn't talk about it during the Gamescom because I wanted to talk about it here. The Homecoming update for State of Decay 2. Man, State of Decay 2. I do not always agree with the choices they made on their updates, but man, the last 3 years they have made 3 huge, sizable, free DLC updates to that game. That just, I don't know, it goes without saying how cool that is. Like Juggernaut Edition, we got a whole new map, and we got a whole new like redefined experience, much more optimized, took out of the bugs. We just got the Plague update, I think, 2 months ago, tops. And now we're getting Homecoming. Homecoming is they have taken the map from Heartland, which is the narrative-driven DLC that has nothing to do with your procedurally generated characters that I hated. But they took the map from it and they redesigned it to be playable with your characters in the normal mode. Plus, they made it really big. They added all this inside stuff, extra little missions and challenges that only happen on that map, really to make it feel more unique and different. On top of that, they've just literally taken all the players' wish lists of every little feature or tweak that people have wanted from this game and just put them in. They're in there now. They're gonna be. And that Homecoming edition It comes out September 1st. It is a free update to State of Decay 2. And just in case you guys are wondering, I streamed this morning twice the amount of time that I usually stream to get my people ready for that update. So, if all goes well, I don't know when they release the DLC, unfortunately. Like, hopefully they release it earlier in the day. But if all goes well, either Wednesday next week at 11:05 for the normal lunch stream, or if they don't release it in time, I'll postpone my lunch stream till Thursday. Do it 11:05 a.m. on Thursday. I will be playing the Heartland map with my my ongoing people next week, which I'm super excited for.
Very exciting.
Very
New
exciting.
stuff.
And
New stuff coming.
And it's a game that just keeps giving you free stuff and just adding stuff to it, and I love them. I love them as a company, and I wish them the best. And that game, I've been playing that game, what did that come out, 4 years ago?
Something like that.
I've been playing that game almost nonstop since. So, like, in some way, shape, or form. And I can very rarely say, and I don't even like zombies. So, like, it's huge to me that that game is so interesting to me that I just love playing it. All right, well, I'm done with odds and ends. You're done, right?
Yep.
Let's plug this thing up, man.
Plug it up.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
That brings us to the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. Neil, you got anything special you want to plug? I know you do. I know you do.
Yes, I do. And now that it's been officially announced here, what I'm going to be doing. So last week we brought up the fact that we will be doing Halo Infinite War, not Halo Infinite Road. That's something that Zach and I do all the time, and you can watch on the channel. Subplug. What I am going to be doing here is probably either today, Tuesday, or tomorrow, Wednesday, depending on when it is that you are listening to this. I'm going to be setting up a separate channel within the Discord to just gauge interest in who is going to be interested in partaking in Halo Infinite War. We will be doing it on September 11th. So it's somewhere around like 2 weeks. Well, it's going to be about a week and a half by the time this comes out. So that is what we are looking for. It's going to be in the evening, somewhere around 9 or 10 Eastern Standard Time. But we don't have an exact time hammered down for that yet. That will come after we get a better idea as to what's going on. But what I will be doing is setting up that channel to gauge interest, to see how many people we have wanting to do it, and go from there. And then I will start collecting gamer tags.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Season 3, Halo Infinite War.
Yes.
If you want to play, guys, we always like to get the community people in, and this is the time. This is the time.
Good, stupid fun. Good, stupid. Emphasis on stupid.
Emphasis in stupid. Look, you guys can check out everything we have Let's Play-wise. You guys know the rigmarole. They're all fun. They're all good. Streaming, I do the lunch stream, and I do a Wednesday 11:05 a.m. or Thursday 11:05 a.m. I also do a Tuesday night Streets of Rage stream, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, that's it. That's it. That's all we got for you. So yeah. So you guys can check us out on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord. Link will be in the description below. Can influence this and all of our shows from there. And guys, as long as you keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Just because I feel like I personally enjoy bitching. So
you know,
it's like a sport for me.
Yeah. Sometimes I enjoy it, but it's just been so unending and so terrible. It's like it's just starting to beat me down. I'm starting to realize what this channel and this podcast actually is. It's not like successful guy makes podcast his thing. It's like gonna be the start and finish, the like tragic end of this dude who, like, you could see at the beginning he starts off with so much hope and love in his heart, and then slowly over the course of so many podcasts you could just watch his spirit be destroyed and murdered until finally on air he hangs himself after E3 2025, where he watches a 24-hour trailer for like the next Skyrim experience, and they announce that you can, do a free to play game to get a subscription service to get access to their microtransactions, which will allow you to play the campaign. And then he just fucking got into this rant, and he just walked off mic and just fucking hung himself right there. It's start to finish. It's just gaming is just so terrible right now, and it's just beating me down so much.